We're expecting a flurry of activity from the Supreme Court soon, and here to make some sense of it, from TexasDefenseFirm.com, it's our good buddy, Jeremy Rosenthal. Welcome back to the big show, sir.
James, how are you?
I am well. So is this one of the Supreme Court situations where they're going to have a bunch of decisions, but they're not going to announce them for months later?
It's reality television. That's kind of what they do. What they do is they have a term, like anybody else. They want to take vacation, like you and me, and that term ends this month. Really, technically, they have kind of until the end of June, early July to issue opinions. And so, yes, they sprinkle a few out here, a few out there, and a few out there. But we can expect really everything that we've been reading about this spring and this last winter. We can expect all that to really get issued here in the next month.
As long as I've been covering things that the Supreme Court have said, I've never picked up the pattern on how they decide what gets released when.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, they do it based on ratings. I assume. No, I don't know. I don't know. There's no rhyme and reason. They said they issue an opinion unless they don't. How's that?
That's very helpful. Thank you so much, Jeremy. So let's talk about one I did hear about. There was a 9-0 decision on the Catholic Charities Bureau. Wisconsin was trying to revoke their tax-exempt status, saying they're not a religious organization. How do slam dunks like this make it to the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court is what is called a court of discretionary review. Think of it like this, James. There's 30 million lawsuits going on in America at any given time. There are landlord-tenant cases, there's insurance cases, dog bite cases, criminal cases. There are 9 Supreme Court justices, and basically they say we're going to focus on the most important 30 or 40 or 50 cases that are out there. And those tend to resolve in instance sometimes the burning questions of the day. That's why Donald Trump and executive orders, that's why those go there. That's why when one state sues another state, that's why that will go there. So and they're looking at resolving a lot of times what you might call circuit court splits. We have courts of appeal all around the country. Ours is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans. They may not agree with the Court of Appeals in San Francisco, the Ninth Circuit. And when you have 5 that say one thing and a bunch that say something else, that's when the Supreme Court may say, okay, now we're going to come in and decide this. So it could be decide to settle a split. Or they just could say, this law has been out there and been screwed up for a long time. Let's fix it. That could be it, too.
Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com, is my guest, talking about what's going on in the Supreme Court. Do we have any semblance of what's going on with the birthright citizenship case?
That's the big one that I think everybody is waiting for. Last summer, we had there was a lot more action last summer. We were waiting on the Donald Trump immunity opinion last summer. That was kind of the big drum roll one. On the birthright citizenship, what is really fascinating here is that the administration is not really taking the position that they're right on the birthright citizenship issue. They're pretty certain that they're going to lose that. What they're arguing instead is that a singular judge does not have jurisdiction or the authority to block a law for the entire country. That's not something that has been litigated before. So what they're basically saying is, look, fine, if you want to block this one judge in Seattle can block it for the plaintiffs who have brought suit in this case, or they can only block it in that circuit. They're not empowered to enjoin this law nationwide. There's a lot of headaches with interpreting it that way, but the Supreme Court was intrigued enough to entertain the argument.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Thanks for sharing your legal expertise with us on The James Show.
Have a great day.